The PDF version of The Hidden Dangers of the Rainbow. The New Age Movement and Our Coming Age of Barbarism. Written by Constance E. Cumbey. The Rainbow. Although the rainbow seems to be only a colored arc of light refracted through raindrops, to both Christians and New Agers it has a deep meaning. According to the Bible, the rainbow is symbolic of God's everlasting covenant that he would never again destroy the earth by a flood. However, the New Age movement uses rainbows to signify their building of the Rainbow Bridge, Antakarana, between man and Lucifer, who they say is the Oversoul. The New Agers place small rainbow decals on their automobiles and bookstores as a signal to others in the movement. Some people, of course, use the rainbow as a decoration, unaware of the growing popular acceptance of its occult meaning in the hidden dangers. It is the contention of this writer that for the first time in history there is a viable movement, the New Age movement, that truly meets all the scriptural requirements for the Antichrist and the political movement that will bring him on the world scene. It is further the position of the writer that this most likely is the great apostasy or falling away spoken of by the Apostle Paul, and that the Antichrist's appearance could be a very real event in our immediate future. Constance E. Cumbey. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Revelation 18, 1-5, King James Bible. Here is the contents. I will read the preface and Maitreya, the New Age Messiah, for this first video. Preface. Millions around the globe awoke to a great surprise on April 25th, 1982. They opened their newspapers only to be greeted with full-page display ads brazenly proclaiming, The Christ is now here. From Rome to Jerusalem, from Kuwait to Karachi, and from New York to Los Angeles and more than 20 major cities, newspaper readers blinked in shocked disbelief as they tried to digest this particular piece of news along with their breakfast. The $500,000 plus ad campaign featured the following copy. The world has had enough of hunger, injustice, war. In answer to our call for help as world teacher for all humanity, the Christ is now here. How will we recognize him? Look for a modern man concerned with modern problems, political, economic, and social. Since July 1977, the Christ has been emerging as a spokesman for a group or community in a well-known modern country. He is not a religious leader, but an educator in the broadest sense of the word, pointing the way out of our present crisis. We will recognize him by his extraordinary spiritual potency, the universality of his viewpoint, his love for all humanity. He comes not to judge, but to aid and inspire. Who is the Christ? Throughout history, humanity's evolution has been guided by a group of enlightened men, the masters of wisdom. They have remained largely in the remote desert and mountain places of earth, working mainly through their disciples who live openly in the world. This message of the Christ's appearance has been given primarily by such a disciple trained for his task for over 20 years. At the center of this spiritual hierarchy stands the world teacher, Lord Maitreya, known by Christians as the Christ, and as Christians await the second coming, so the Jews await the Messiah, the Buddhists the fifth Buddha, the Muslims the Imam, Mahdi, and the Hindus await Krishna. These are all names for the one individual. His presence in the world guarantees there will be no third world war. What is he saying? My task will be to show you how to live together peacefully as brothers. This is simpler than you imagine, my friends, for it requires only the acceptance of sharing. How can you be content with the modes within which you now live? When millions starve and die in squalor, when the rich parade their wealth before the poor, when each man is his neighbor's enemy, when no man trusts his brother. Allow me to show you the way forward into a simpler life where no man lacks, where no 2 days alike, where the joy of brotherhood manifests through all men. Take your brother's need as the measure for your action and solve the problems of the world. He has not yet declared his true status, and his location is known to only a very few disciples. One of these has announced that soon the Christ will acknowledge his identity, and within the next 2 months will speak to humanity through a worldwide television and radio broadcast. His message will be heard inwardly, telepathically, by all people in their own language. From that time, with his help, we will build a new world. Without sharing, there can be no justice. Without justice, there can be no peace. Without peace, there can be no future. The ads went on to list 4 information centers strategically scattered around the globe: Amsterdam, London, New York City, and North Hollywood, California. For myself, unfortunately, these ads came as no surprise. In fact, they and the vast network of organizations behind them, known collectively as the New Age movement, had been the source of a near obsession with me for all of the previous year. They should have come as little surprise to most of the Christian community either, had the all too numerous clues been observed. The age of Aquarius was at last arriving, and it meant nothing as far as the Judeo-Christian world was concerned. And that world was well needed to be concerned, for sadly apathy was the order of the day, and apathy that, if not soon shaken, would result in the New Agers' long-awaited New World Order. Hiding behind an aura of undeserved respectability, the New Age movement has managed to actively recruit many unsuspecting Jews and Christians to work for their own destruction. The Christ is Now Here ad campaign was preceded by an incredibly sophisticated public relations campaign, including a worldwide speaking tour by one Benjamin Creme, an aging English esotericist who happened to be a disciple of several occult pioneers, including Helena Petrovna Blavatsky and Alice A. Bailey. Touring the globe since 1975, Creme had managed to win the support of influentials ranging from UN officials through Methodist ministers, from Belgian nuns through Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, from the Hunger Project through holistic health leaders, and from mind control trainers and trainees through astrologers. Clearly, he was not out there on his own. The man's audacity was justified by his broad base of support. Creme's front organization was the Terra Center, based in New York, Los Angeles, Amsterdam, and London. Spin-off transmission groups were left behind in every city where Creme lectured. Even if Terra Center had been the only organization backing the so-called Christ, it might have been a legitimate source of concern. But Terra was not the only such organization. Also involved were religious leaders, including many Unity and Unitarian leaders, educators, cooperating New Age networking groups who turned their members out to submit themselves to Creme's bizarre hypnotic powers, occultists of every shade and description, political activists, opportunists, and those who had a sincere and genuine concern for the world's poor and labored under the mistaken impression that they were lending their support to a remedy for the world's numerous wrongs. They were unsuspecting that they were supporting a movement that parallels Nazism in every grotesque detail, including a teaching that a blood taint rested upon these of Jewish extraction, and another being that of a planned new super race. Many did not know that this movement planned the eventual extermination and replacement of these very peoples they labored to help with a new root race, and even the violent extermination of themselves should they persist in orthodox religious beliefs. And many for certain did not know that they were actively involved in the very same movement that was proud to claim Jim Jones as its own prior to his Guyana murder-suicide fiasco. And you may further be certain that many of these sincere but deluded people did not know that they were actively participating in a movement which gives Lucifer the status of a divinity and plans mass planetary Luciferic initiations for those wishing to enter this new age alive. Yet, despite the naivete in a movement which traffics in ignorance and despair, they were involved. They were often sucked in by good intentions and held in by sophisticated forms of mass hypnosis and mind control. Those participating in Creme's lecture audiences, as well as thousands upon thousands of New Age activities designed to program participants to unquestioningly accept this new Christ, were unwittingly and unsuspecting victims in the largest, best financed con job this world has ever seen. I did not discover the New Age movement after learning of Terra Center and Benjamin Creme. Rather, I discovered Creme while in the midst of an extensive researching of the intricate but huge New Age movement, a movement that includes many thousands of organizations networking throughout every corner of our globe, with the intent of bringing about a new world order, an order that writes God out of the picture and deifies Lucifer. I am also not talking about what I found reading between the lines, although some of that should desirably be done as well. I am talking about what the leaders of this movement have set forth in cold print. The danger to both Jews and Christians should not be underestimated. Benjamin Creme's announcement of Maitreya the Christ is the culmination of over 100 years of meticulous planning and labor by those seeking this new age of Aquarius. They have garnered the support of some of the most powerful and influential individuals in the world. It is a fact that they will not and cannot be successful until God is ready for prophetic fulfillment. However, if God is ready, are you? This book sets forth a small portion of my research findings. What will be difficult to fully convey is the sense of mounting horror I found while piecing this multitude of data together. It appears to culminate in a scheme both fulfilling the prophetic requirements for the Antichrist as set forth in the Bible and also matching Nazism down to use of swastikas. Frightening the material is, however, what should be kept in mind by the believer is the much more potent power generously bestowed upon us by our Lord. The latter reigns which we were to be even more abundant than the former. As Isaiah said, looking towards our own latter days, the wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice, even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it, the excellency of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of the Lord and the excellency of our God. Strengthen ye the weak hands, and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, even God with a recompense. He will come and save you. Isaiah 35, 1-4, King James Version. The purpose of this book is to inform the unsuspecting of the events that may lie immediately ahead and of those persons and organizations helping to manipulate them. More importantly, it is about strengthening the weak hands and confirming the feeble knees with the help of God, so that we might be counted worthy to stand the things that must come upon the earth, if all is to be fulfilled as written. Chapter 1. Note from Constance. This Chapter 1 was not written by me, but by Senator Bill Keith, one of the owners and then president of Huntington House. I did not know he had done so until the book was released, and frankly, it was a subject of great consternation to me. He had compiled it from his perception of statements I had made in my lectures. The writing style varied somewhat from the rest, although, in retrospect, it wasn't so terrible. Maitreya, the New Age Messiah. Who is Lord Maitreya? Is he the Antichrist? Is he already in the world today? Is he an ordinary man who is demonically possessed? Only the insiders of the New Age movement hierarchy know his true identity. Maitreya is living somewhere. He eats, he sleeps, he paces the floor, he studies world conditions. He knows his time is soon. What do we know about Maitreya? The full-page newspaper ads give us some clues. According to Tara Center, sponsor of the ads, he is a world teacher for all humanity. He is a modern man concerned with modern problems, political, economic, and social. Since July of 1977, he has been emerging as a spokesman for a group or community in a well-known modern country. He has extraordinary spiritual powers. His location is known only to a very few of his disciples. He will soon announce his identity. He will communicate to all humanity through a worldwide radio and television broadcast. Pause. Pat Robertson said that when Jesus returned, it would be on TV. Just saying. He plans to build a new world. Exactly what does the name Maitreya mean? Maitreya is supposed to be the fifth reincarnation of Buddha. The world's Buddhists are already expecting Lord Maitreya to return to Earth. So the name was a very shrewd choice. In order to appeal to Christians, New Agers say Maitreya is the Christ. For Muslims, he is the Imam Mahdi. For Hindus, he is Krishna. Maitreya's followers are now in the last stage of the New Age scheme to take the world for Lucifer. Lucius Trust, formerly Lucifer Trust, ran ads in the Reader's Digest which displayed the Great Invocation to Maitreya. The Great Invocation refers to the plan. It says, "Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth." What is the plan? It includes the installation of a new world messiah, the implementation of a new world government and new world religion under Maitreya. They have numerous political, social, and economic goals, including the following: a universal credit system, a world food authority which would control the world's food supply, a universal tax, and a universal draft. But there is more to the plan. They intend to utterly root out people who believe the Bible and worship God, and to completely stamp out Christianity. They have stated that they will plan to outlaw all present religious practices and symbols of Orthodox Jews and Christians. The movement is working quickly and efficiently to execute its scheme to take control of the world for Maitreya. New Agers have threatened violence and even extermination of Jews, Christians, and Muslims who failed to cooperate with Maitreya and his new religion. The Tara Centers are part of international networks involving tens of thousands of different organizations behind the New Age movement and its false Christ. Creme describes it as being worldwide. During an interview with Jack Kissling of the Denver Post, Creme discussed Maitreya. Kissling gives the account. Benjamin Creme told me that not only has the Christ been back on earth since July of 1977, but that sometime in the next 8 or 9 weeks he will reveal himself in a worldwide day of declaration, at which time the millennium will have dawned. He explained that by the Christ he means not Jesus Christ, but the Master of Wisdom, of whom Jesus and such other spiritual leaders as Muhammad, Brahma, and Krishna are disciples. Asked what will happen after the great Galvanic day, Creme said, "Progress will be slow but steady. The world needs and world resources will be reassessed and redistributed, and the groundwork for a single global religion will be started and probably flower fully within 20 years. Won't the advent of a single world religion annoy the hierarchies of all the current Orthodox religions?" I asked. "More than that," he said with a smile, "they will be shocked. I dare say they will be among the last to accept the Christ." But according to Kissling, Creme said confidently, "It will come anyway, because it must. We will begin to live," he said, "as potential gods." The Club of Rome is another very prominent New Age organization. It has drawn up the blueprints for a new world order. How could this ever happen? What conditions must emerge to pave the way for a world takeover by the Antichrist, or Lord Maitreya, or anyone else. Interestingly enough, in the Aquarian conspiracy, Marilyn Ferguson comes flat out and makes an admission that the purpose of the LSD circulation in this country was to get people open, to get their channels open, so they would have what she called a religious experience. But this is nothing more than possession. Pause again. LSD and all these other practices to open your consciousness, or yoga or contemplative prayer. And yeah, I do think the Kundalini baptism of fire that like Bill Johnson gives people, and all those guys, I think that's in the same realm. That's just me. I'm a misinformed idiot. So another New Age leader is David Spangler, who is right at the top of Planetary Citizens, which is the Secretariat for Planetary Initiative. Spangler says that in order to enter the New Age, we must take a Luciferic initiation. He says we're heading into a vast planetary initiation, a mass initiation of people. They intend to give us our mark or number in that Luciferic initiation ceremony. No wonder God told us if we take the mark, we go to hell. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is literally a choice between God and Lucifer. You will have to pledge loyalty to Lucifer or Maitreya to get a permit to do business in the New Age. Pause. I think the permit now in this time of 2023 might be something more like a digital passport. Okay, unpause. We also note another distinguishing characteristic of the New Age movement, the 666. Within the movement, there is extensive usage of the numeral 666. I have noticed 666 in various books by David Spangler. One example is a little booklet called Love is by the New Troubadours, and published by the Findhorn Foundation. There are numerous 666 formations worked into the pictures in the book. New Agers consider 666 a sacred number. Those who so freely use the number 666 honestly believe they are sending signals to outer space, or to what they call the superior intelligences which they believe inhabit our planet. They are asking those superior intelligences to come in and bring a new advanced civilization. They believe that the more times and the more places that the numeral 666 are used, the quicker that new civilization will come. The Bible teaches that Satan will try to deceive the very elect of God. When Maitreya goes public, yet another impostor will come forward saying, I am the Master Jesus. This Master Jesus will say, now all you Christians and all you church members, you come forward and worship Lord Maitreya. Actually, the New Age movement correlates many of its aims with Bible prophecy. A letter from an organization called Mission of Maitreya from Albuquerque, New Mexico, contains the following statement. The word Maitreya has always been associated with Messiah, who will come to unify the world and synthesize all religions under one banner. This expectation is now fulfilled. Known to Christians and Jews as the Messiah, Buddhists and Hindus as Maitreya, and Muslims or Mahdi or Muhammad, Maitreya is called by all these names. The names Maitreya, Messiah, and Muhammad are given to him. He did not call himself by these names, so besides other prophecies, the prophecy that many shall come in my name would be fulfilled. They say that all the prophecies Jesus made concerning those that would come in his name are now fulfilled. Jesus said, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Although the full-page newspaper ad said Maitreya would soon appear, he has not done so yet. This worries me, for it could cause many Christians to develop a false sense of confidence over the fact that he has not yet appeared. The average false Christ, and there have been many, is not bashful. He comes out, collects his followers, his accolades, and especially the money. Then he lives like a king. The real Antichrist cannot appear until the Lord permits it, and I believe the Lord will not let it happen until his people are fully warned. Everyone will know when Jesus comes to earth again. It will be as clear as a flash of lightning in the sky. I believe the New Agers will attempt to give the impression to Christians that the emergence of Maitreya is actually the return of Christ. Revelation 13 through 15 is an interesting prophecy. It says, And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by the sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. That prophecy puzzled me until I studied the New Age movement in depth. I have learned that the movement has devoted a great deal of research and attention to the use of holographic images. These are three-dimensional images created in space by the use of laser beams. Yeah, and just think, this was back in the 80s, so how much more do we have that now? David Spangler said in a meeting in Southfield, Michigan, February 1, 1982, that laser beam projectors had been installed for use on the top of the Cathedral of St. John the Divine Episcopal in New York City. I talked to lighting experts to see what laser beam projectors are capable of, and I was told they can be beamed onto telecommunication satellites. The New Agers have several of these at their disposal. When the lasers bounce from the satellite back to Earth, the light rays can be bent in such a manner as to appear that flames are coming from the sky. These satellites can also be used to project a three-dimensional holographic image viewable by up to 1/3 of the Earth's population. There is even technology to make the image speak in the language of the areas to which it is beamed. Of course, we all know that lasers can be used as weapons. New Agers deify Lucifer, and that is the worship of devils. Through transmissions to Benjamin Creme, Maitreya has claimed that Jesus is one of his disciples. This can be documented in Creme's books, The Reappearance of Christ and the Masters of Wisdom. How widespread is this New Age movement? According to Marilyn Ferguson and other New Age sources, they are in every city and institution in the world. Their people are in the United Nations, prominent scientific, legal, and medical circles, and even at the congressional and cabinet levels of the United States government. Christians should remember that the motive behind the New Age movement is Lucifer's desire to be worshipped as God. Maitreya, if he is indeed the Antichrist, will be worshipped. As Satan possesses Maitreya, he in turn will receive that worship he has sought since he was expelled from heaven. And that's the end of chapter 1.
Run.
There's just one name that can keep you out of hell, and it's the name of Jesus. The name of Jesus.